Now, I know another issue you've been exploring is the impact ethanol is having on the agricultural sector, which has really kind of developed into a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's really good for corn producers, but on the other hand, not so good for others in ag.
Well, Rob, you're exactly right. With the increase in demand for corn-based ethanol last year, corn prices more than doubled, hitting an all-time high of over $8 a bushel. Now, on the surface, that may seem like good news for agriculture. However, about 60% of livestock producers' expenses come from what they feed their animals, which is often corn-based, an issue many blame for the push to use more ethanol.
It's feeding time at Middle Creek Ranch outside of Dustin, Oklahoma.
Every single component that goes into what we use to operate on this ranch basically has just had a multiple increase in price.
Yates Adcock owns a diversified cattle operation and says to keep his business up and running, he has had to cut some corners.
When the demand for corn went up, well, the price went up, and when the price went up, well, then we started having offsets to where people started looking at other alternative feeds like dried distillers grains. Well, they went up, and then other feeds were affected due to the increase in demand and caused a synergy type effect to where just the whole price on feeds just went up.
An increase of over 50% that Adcock believes is directly related to the jump in fuel prices last year.
There's not just one thing that we can just attribute, these increasing costs to. If it would be one thing, I think you would need to look at basically the price of fuel, because fuel touches every single component that we have to buy on this ranch.
And while Adcock supports the development of alternative fuels, he thinks a rush to produce more corn-based ethanol could hurt more people than it helps.
I do know several operators that are thinking about liquidating. I think these are extremely tough times, and I think the vast majority of the American population does not realize the dire condition that agriculture is in currently. To raise a commodity like we raise in times like this with escalating cost, you have to be a low-cost producer, and that's really hard to be in today's times.
And while fuel prices have decreased dramatically over the past 6 months, fuel-based inputs like fertilizer have remained high. But Adcock says he's not giving up without a fight.
When you have to liquidate and sell out, it's just game over and you're done, and that's to be avoided at all costs. We're going to do our best to reduce our cost, to operate as efficiently as we can, to trim everything we possibly can, and in hopes of staying in business.